Romeo Lavia can genuinely make Chelsea a lot closer to becoming Premier League champions next season. And in this video, I'm going to explain why and explain why he's such a good player, how he's such a good player, what he does, how he elevates other players, most importantly, and how he makes Chelsea Football Club overall a much better team. But before we get into this, I am very aware of his injury record. And I would like to say the title of this video is based on the fact and the idea that he's fit for 75% of the season next season. I don't think it's true if he's only available for half the season or a quarter of the season like he's been for the last season or two. But anyway, let's talk more about Romeo Lavia. I think people forget that he is only 21 years old. That is so young for a player of his ability. He was incredible for a season at Southampton, not injured that much, just at 19 years old, I think it was. And now he's moved to Chelsea. He's one of the best young midfielders and young talents in the world. And with the injury kind of stuff, I'm not as worried as I probably should be. If he was 24, 25, entering his prime, I'd be absolutely worried because I think it would stop his trajectory. But the fact that he's so young and he's getting these injuries potentially out of the way, we can tackle them immediately, make sure that they don't continue, fix the issues at hand so that he can have a great career. And I think as Chelsea fans, we should be really, really hopeful about his injuries with the way that we're treating Reece James. We're treating Reece James and Lavia with so much care, so much caution, only playing them in very specific games, making sure they just have the right playing time, subbing them off when it's right. I think they're going to get Reece James and Lavia so spot on in the next couple of months. So next season, both of them can be available, and specifically Lavia can be available, help the team out, and push us to where we want to be back again. But also, the next thing we need to talk about is how he elevates others. I'm going to talk about Moises Caicedo. I'm going to talk about Enzo Fernandez. I'm going to talk about Noni Madueke. I'm going to talk about Cole Palmer. So much of the team he elevates, and let's talk about that. I think the first person we have to talk about when it comes to Romeo Lavia playing with him is Moises Caicedo. He just improves even a massive amount on what he already is because he's already our player of the season. He's already absolutely fantastic. I absolutely adore him, but Lavia just brings out another level in him. I think the fact of the matter is Caicedo is really good at changing defense into attack. He'll tackle in defense and then he'll move the ball further forward. But that's very hard to do necessarily on your own. Now, the fact that Lavia is one of the best in the world at this, his unique skill in my eyes is basically getting the ball through tackling or change of possession. And he can dribble out of such tight spaces. He's so press resistant. He can move out there and he can deliver the balls to the attack and the wings and everywhere towards the attack. Now, the fact when we have Caicedo and Lavia both there, they're both able to do that skill. Now, when it's just Caicedo, it's very hard for him to do it every time. So what he has to do is he kind of has to use the centre-backs as the other midfielders. And that's the reason why we have this passing around the back nonsense. People find it boring. People don't like it. I think it's quite patient and sometimes it does frustrate me. Having Lavia in the team with Caicedo in that midfield role is so beneficial to never having that because Caicedo and Lavia can do that together. One of them will get the ball, pass to the other, or just pass it directly forward, and we don't have to go round the back endlessly until we find that gap. Lavia and Caicedo both together can find those gaps so fantastically. And if we have to play Caicedo at right back, I'm not necessarily that upset about it. He is a really good right back in terms of the fact that one-on-one defensively, he's fantastic. He puts less pressure on our right winger to have to track back and do all that defensive work. And then majority of the time, we're playing a team that will have less possession than us. So Caicedo's in the midfield most of the time. So many people I hear at Stamford Bridge going, oh God, why are we playing our best player at right back when he's a midfielder? That's not true. He is in the midfield so much more than he's at right back. And I think it's a really good system for us. Now, speaking of those two playing fantastically there, one of the absolute massive benefits is Enzo Fernandez, honestly, sometimes has a new lease of life with Lavia and the team. It's no surprise that Enzo scored that goal in the first 4 minutes against Liverpool. He has so many more times and so much less pressure to have to do all the defensive work when he has a Lavia and a Caicedo behind him. He can just express himself, move forward. And that goal that he scored against Liverpool is a classic kind of Frank Lampard type run into the edge of the box. He might not have necessarily done that if we hadn't, if there was more need for him to defend. He wouldn't have had the just freedom to express himself, burst forward, get into the box, ready to score. And that is the magic of having Lavia. He just has so many of these things that unlocks freedom for other players like Enzo Fernandez. And I think Enzo Fernandez is so much better suited to being in a double 10 role with Cole Palmer than being an 8 or a kind of a 6 with Caicedo. I think having that box midfield of Caicedo and Lavia and then your Enzo and your Palmer ahead is absolutely fantastic, and you see the benefits so clearly on Enzo Fernandez. And then moving on forward to that, Cole Palmer as well as Enzo Fernandez has so much more freedom. The number one frustration that we had with Cole Palmer in the last couple of months is he was getting so frustrated with the fact that he wasn't getting enough touch on the ball. Half the game we were playing it around the back, so he wasn't getting the ball. He couldn't have those magic moments, and he couldn't show us the skill that he has. By having Lavia and Caicedo there, it means that Enzo can push up further forward, and then it means Palmer can just have more of a free roll on that right-hand side, where he's absolutely fantastic. And he doesn't have to come back to the halfway line, try and collect the ball and do magic there. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's not an 8 even. He should be a very high up number 10, almost playing off the striker, and that's where he plays best. And we saw in this Liverpool game, because Lavia was in that kind of 6 role with Caicedo, Enzo was pushed up further. Palmer was playing just wherever he wants with the freedom, playing with Neto on the right. He can move to the left, even play with Noni Madueke. It was just fantastic to see. And it's no surprise to me that Cole Palmer had one of his best games in months when Lavia was playing. It's just fantastic how much Lavia just makes every single player at Chelsea so much better. And if we even include the wingers in that, the reason Madueke and someone like Neto have so much more freedom is because we have such a firm defensive base in that kind of defensive midfield role that they feel maybe 10% they need to track back a bit less, 10% less. And if they have to worry a bit less about the defensive duties ahead of them, their main focus in Maresca's system, every single winger should be, I'm going to go on the sidelines and I'm going to just get ready to get the ball from either Lavia or Caicedo, and then I'm going to bomb down the wing, be direct, and absolutely have some magic. And Noni Madueke and Pedro Neto have both been having a lot more magic recently, especially in that Liverpool game. They were both fantastic, had the fullbacks on toast, and that is a byproduct, yes, by a couple of stages through Palmer, through Enzo, through Caicedo, but it all has an epicenter of Romeo Lavia. Romeo Lavia is fantastic on his own, but he makes every single player so much better. As I said at the beginning, if Romeo Lavia is fit for about 70-75% of the season next season, then Chelsea, there is no reason I can't see us pushing for a Premier League title next season, because he elevates every player better. And if other players don't have a drop-off, which I don't think they should do, I think everyone in the Chelsea squad, the benefit of a Chelsea young squad is that we're all elevating ourselves together. They're growing at the same time. I think all the players can grow together. Lavia can just elevate everyone with Caicedo, Enzo, Palmer, Madueke, all elevating, as I've explained in this video. I think it could look very good, but you'll have to let me know your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe for Chelsea content.